Good evening, friends and family, and thank you for coming to another night with Repair, Restore, and Grow Black Communities Behind Black Business. And we have another wonderful guest here for you tonight, Chimere Hunter, who is the CEO of Shimmer and Shine. And Chimere, I want to thank you again for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And as you know, every week I tell you we are a nonprofit organization and we're a few people who came together to make a difference in our community. And we feel the best way to do that is to help support our Black businesses, Chimere, because we feel that our Black businesses are the anchor of our community. And when we talk about how that dollar turns around in our communities, how many times it turns around, and we compare our communities to others, their dollars are staying in the community and ours are often going out.
Definitely.
And so we said, let's see what we can do to help our businesses. So we've helped some businesses get websites. We've fought for some people to stay in business. I've had events for our bookstores. And we have this podcast every Wednesday night where we feature one of the many wonderful Black businesses that we have here in Chicago. And I think that's part of the problem. A lot of people that really don't realize how many Black businesses we have, who they are, where they are, and that they're even out here.
I
So
agree.
that's why we do this podcast. And I know, I'm sure advertising is a challenge, at times. And even though we have so much social media out here, just still doesn't, some ways just still doesn't get to everybody like we wanted to,
Yeah.
like it should. So that's why we have this podcast.
Well, thank you so much for the opportunity, and I'm sure other Black businesses really appreciate the effort that you and your colleagues do, and the opportunity and the platform that you give. So that's amazing that you do that.
Thank you. Thank you. And that's what we have to do. We have to come together. We said we have to have a collective. And what does collective mean? That means that we support one another, right?
I agree. I
And
agree.
so that's what this is all about. And we're great proponents of reading. So we really support our Black bookstores. We have a book giveaway every month. We choose a Black bookstore. They're our bookstore of the month. They select the book, and one of our subscribers wins the book. We pay for the cost of the book, the shipping. We hope they'll go into the bookstore and buy the book. And so our bookstore for this month is The Book Joint, located 330 East 51st Street. And you can also go to thebookjoint.com. But if you go to their establishment, you can not only shop, but you can read. They have nice seating in their area. And the book that they chose for this month was Black AF History, Unwhitewashed Story of America by Michael Harriot. So all you have to do is go to rrgbc.org and subscribe, and you can possibly win that book. Now, this weekend, if you go to our events page, the Book Joint, in conjunction with R.R. Hutchinson, they're having a book signing at the Bronzeville Incubator at 5055 South Prairie this Saturday from 1 to 4. And his book is The Lover's Quarrel. He's a young author rather, and he is talking about his journey as a young man trying to have relationships. He wanted to have relationships with young ladies, and he's talking about the experiences that he has had. And so it's a pretty interesting read. So Please consider family going to the Bronzeville Incubator this Saturday from 1 to 4. You want more information, go to our events page at rrgbc.org. And remember, as we talk about keeping our dollars in our community, support our Black-owned banks, the Southside Community Federal Credit Union, located at 55th and Wentworth at the back of the rear end of that shopping mall, and they've been around for over 20 years, giving loans, financial literacy classes, all kinds of help to the community financially. So we are great supporters of the Southside Community Federal Credit Union. And finally, please go to Save Black Bookstore Chicago at change.org and sign our petition as we further as we move forward to support our Black bookstores. We're trying to get contracts. Contracts are very important. And that's a big deal here in Chicago, trying to get contracts for different entities, our contractors. I'm sure you, Chimere, look to get contracts with different
Absolutely.
companies. That makes a big difference in terms of or another avenue rather, as in terms of how you can make more dollars and hire more people. So please go to Save Black Bookstores Chicago at change.org and sign our petition. So tonight, Chimere Hunter of Shimmer and Shine. First, I would like for you to tell us what Shimmer and Shine is, so people know what type of business, what type of establishment this is.
Okay. And is a cleaning company. We specialize in commercial properties as well as residential. We also service Airbnb properties. So we're all inclusive.
Okay, a cleaning company. All right. So I know as I read your bio, you have you've had a very interesting journey,
I have.
and it's a journey. Everybody's not the same, but many people have gone down a similar road as you're trying to find your way, find your niche, find your purpose, figure out what you want to do. And sometimes you start out thinking you want to do one thing, and as life presents itself, you make adjustments or you make changes. And so you've had a very interesting journey. And I'm going to start out by what I do remember at the beginning. You said you wanted two things. You said you wanted to help people,
Hmm.
and you said that you wanted to be a doctor.
Yes.
So, which would you like to talk about first?
Okay. Initially, I wanted to be a geriatric doctor. I have a passion for helping people, and I have a soft spot in my heart for elderly people. So I definitely wanted to utilize both of those, intertwine both of those things.
Mm-hmm.
And initially, when I started off, everything was fine. I'm not really great at science and or math, but I got the tutors for that. But my passion to be able to impact and help people like motivated that. Um, During my time going through the different classes, what I discovered is that the medical field is not necessarily, and maybe this is not the case for everybody, but
Mm-hmm.
what I noticed is that it's all about money.
Mm-hmm.
And I made the decision to go in that field so I can help people.
Right.
And if people don't have the resources in order to obtain like the doctors and or the medicine, then they're at a loss. And it kind of turned me off from it.
So, when you looked at the realities of what people were going through,
Hmm.
when you say it's all about the money,
Hmm.
um, can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Okay, so real briefly, during my time at one of the hospitals, I won't name the hospital, um, where I was taking like the intern classes. There was a woman that came up to the counter. She came to fill a prescription. It was life sustaining medicine. And because she didn't have the resources, she was told that there was nothing that could be done.
Okay.
Um, and that was heartbreaking because I was in this to impact people's lives, to be able to help people.
Mm-hmm.
And what
Mm-hmm.
I discovered during that time, just seeing that, is that if you don't have, if you're have not, then you don't get the things that you need. And
Okay.
I didn't want to be a part of something like that. Though I know, and I'm aware of a doctor that works at Cook County Hospital. Actually, he's a doctor, and he gives private care, like on the weekends.
Okay.
He gives, um, he allows the public to be able to access, his services. So, I
Okay.
mean, that was an option too, but it just turned me off from it.
I think you were starting to realize or coming to realize what side or what part you wanted to play
Absolutely.
in helping. It's just like you work in a school, and okay, you got your administration, you got your teachers, and you have your custodial staff. You have different people in that building. You got your technicians that are doing different things to make it all come together.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you were coming into your true self
Mm-hmm.
as to where you wanted to be in this situation,
Absolutely.
and your heart went out for these people who weren't able to get the services that they're supposed to get, and
Absolutely.
that's where you wanted to be.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And so I finished those classes. After
Okay.
that, I went to medical billing and coding. I wasn't passionate about it, but it was still in the medical field. It was a short course that I had to take, and I did that at Taylor Business Institute.
Mm-hmm.
During the time being at Taylor Business Institute, I was working at an art gallery, Alice Art Gallery at 900 North Michigan, and I was a receptionist
Okay.
there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so during that time, I experienced a lot of racial profiling, discrimination. Um, and I decided to, look elsewhere, and I actually applied for the Palmer House Hilton, actually. So that was my first hotel property, and went for the position, got the position. And within the first, like, maybe 2 weeks, I realized that that was literally my passion. So all of the schooling, all of the effort in the medical field was like, you know, I wouldn't say
So,
for nothing, because it's
okay.
great to have a point of reference.
Mm-hmm.
But at the Palmer House, within those 2 weeks, that's when I discovered where my passion was.
Okay. So let me back up. You're experiencing racial profiling at the
Mhm.
art gallery. So what was that looking like?
It was horrible. I've been born and raised in Chicago. You know, racism exists.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I went to Kenwood, so Kenwood Academy, so it's
Okay.
really diverse. Um, so in high school, I didn't experience that, but when you get into the workforce, you venture out to different neighborhoods, stairs, you hear the conversation, and um, and so that's what I noticed there, being at 900 North Michigan. Um, it was horrible. It didn't feel good at all, and I don't think that a person should be treated differently because of the color of their skin.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and also, there were people that were African American as well, but that were lighter than me, and their treatment was different as well.
Oh my goodness.
So it was a colorism thing.
So was it how the customers were treating you, or how the
The
business
customers.
itself?
It was the customers.
The
It was the
customers.
customers. Yeah, it was the customers.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, we continue to have to go through this, which is, you know, why we have another reason we have this organization, because of when you compare our communities, our businesses to other communities and their businesses, you just look at the disparity, especially in terms of resources
Hmm.
that are made available,
Absolutely.
and what happens even when you try to progress.
Hmm.
A lot of people say, "Oh, we didn't do this and we didn't do that." We have done a lot in this country, and we don't have to go all the way back to what happened in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I mean, just things continue to happen where Black people try to progress, and all kind of stumbling blocks are put in their way. So, but you didn't let that stop you.
No.
You went on, and so you said you were at was it the Palmer House?
The Palmer House, that was my first hotel property.
That was your first hotel property.
Hmm.
So, what was it about the Palm House that made it seem like this was
That
now
was
I'm
it.
realizing my passion? What kind of things happened there?
At the Palmer House, I think it was initially the group of people. the team that we had on staff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because of the people, it wasn't work. And I'm a person that's like to socialize. So I was
Mm-hmm.
able to socialize, get to meet people from all around the world, from
Mm-hmm.
different walks of life and different backgrounds. And to be able to give guest satisfaction, like that's my thing. I'm all about customer service.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just everything to me. It was everything. I can be my authentic self, right?
Okay.
And use the gifts that God gave me in order to be able to make an impact. And it wasn't necessarily anything huge. It's the smallest
Mm-hmm.
thing that makes the biggest impact in people's lives. You
Absolutely.
know, my name is not a common name, so they probably wouldn't remember my name all the time, but
Mm-hmm.
they will remember the experience, the
Sure.
conversation, the attention to detail that I gave,
Mm-hmm.
um, and it will make them want to come back. You know.
Okay. So you had an opportunity to begin to do what your passion was. You had an
Hmm.
opportunity to do that,
Yeah.
and you made one of the first decisions that many people that I have interviewed on this podcast
Hmm.
have said, uh, don't work for the money.
Mm-mm.
And I know a lot of people that are in businesses might think, oh, that's crazy. A lot of people think, oh, that's crazy. But if you do what you're meant to do and you're doing it to the best of your ability and this is your passion, the money comes along with a whole lot of other satisfaction. And that's where your creativity gets stirred up, and you can just keep moving,
Yeah,
you know.
but I do think you need to be passionate about it,
Absolutely.
and it shows. People can
Hmm.
pick up on that energy.
That's right.
Hmm.
That's right. And they're going to have, it's all about relationships, I
Hmm.
say. And they're going
No,
to have
I agree.
they're going to have a different kind of experience with you.
Absolutely.
That's right. The kind of relationship that they should have. So you worked at the Palmer House, and how long did you, now the Palmer House, um, you got different types of hotels. That's something else I was thinking about as I was
Hmm.
reading your bio. There are different types of hotels
Yes.
and different levels, of service that you would get. So, where did the Palmer House come in? Where would you say?
The Palmer House, I would say, well, it's a historic property, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's a beautiful property. I would put it in the line of like semi luxury.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say semi luxury. It's a beautiful property. The historic, it has a rich historic, history,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, so I would put it in line with semi luxury.
Okay. All right. So, the kind of service that you were able to provide, I'm sure it broadened. You
It
know.
brought in they the Hilton allowed the Palmer House Hilton specifically allowed the staff to be personable,
Mm-hmm.
and attentive,
Okay.
not robotic. I have been at other properties where, and I won't name that, but I
Sure.
have been at other properties where it didn't give you room to be personable, and for your personality to shine through. It was pretty much you're dealing with millionaires, billionaires, famous people, and to me, I got to feel like a sense of worship. You know,
Mm-hmm.
um, and that's not me. I want to be personal. I want to know. I want to get personal with you. I want to know
Mm-hmm.
what your plans are for the weekend. What made you come to Chicago? How your day was, and actually take the time to listen.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I like to be sociable, and the engagement. I think that's what sets um, the different hotels, or not even just hotels, but just services apart, is the engagement. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I think now with technology advancing, um, people take the engagement out of it. It's not really a big thing anymore. And that saddens me because I'm all about customer service and the engagement aspect of it, you know?
Okay. Well, I think that's kind of a downside that people are beginning to look at.
Hmm.
'Cause, I mean, of course, technology has opened up so many windows. It's allowing so many things to happen faster,
Hmm.
what have you. But even with many individuals, and including children, young people, the interaction. There's a difference when I'm talking to you face to face, as
Absolutely.
opposed to when I'm going on Facebook and I'm saying something, or I'm sending you something, via the internet. We're losing a lot of that interpersonal growth, and it's one of our part of our senses that we're not using,
Right.
you know, that we should be using. Because when you're talking to somebody, it's so much you can pick up on their body language, how they're looking at you, how they're responding to what you're saying, and just this back and forth, and so many adjustments that you have to make. Um, and that's not happening with all of the technology, as people are running after the money and doing whatever else they're doing.
Right.
But this was your niche. In
Hmm.
some instances, this is what some people want, and that's what they're getting. But that was not your niche. You wanted to be more personable. So how long did you stay at the Palmer House?
Palm House was like 3.5 years.
Okay.
About 3.5 years. After, so ultimately, once I got there, I discovered this was my passion. I ultimately wanted to be director of front office. And so I left there after the 3.5 years and went to the Embassy Suites Lakefront. So I went to that property as a front office manager. And during that time, so I was there for about maybe 2.5 years. The economy hit. That's when everybody stopped travel. It was really bad for
You mean
hospitality.
during COVID,
No, this was prior to.
prior to COVID?
Prior
Okay.
to. Yeah.
Okay.
Like maybe around 2010.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I was at the Embassy Suites around 2010. Left, went to the Spring Hill Suites Marriott O'Hare. At that property, I was able to really, the management there allowed me to be able to really hone into my skills. They gave me the flexibility um, to just do what I felt needed to be done in order to get the scores up, to maintain the scores. So there is really where I really discovered what I was able to do.
So when you say scores, you mean the ratings
Yeah,
for
the scores. Yeah. So like
the
TripAdvisor,
hotel?
the different,
Uh-huh.
yeah. Hmm.
Oh, okay. Okay. So what I see you doing is what a lot of people should take advantage of, whatever um, career you're involved in, is to try to begin to learn as much about it, all the different facets of it. And
Hmm.
it looks like that's the direction that you were going in. You said you wanted to become a front office manager,
No, director.
director.
Hmm.
Oh, okay.
And so what a lot of people don't know is different size. And so that was my mindset. The Palmer House is 1,639 rooms. The Embassy Suites Lakefront, I believe it's rooms. And the properties were ran completely different. So when you're at a bigger property, there's more levels, you know.
Okay.
Um, and at a smaller property, you have to do more because you don't have all of those layers.
Okay.
And so I thought that was definitely needed in order to be an effective front office director of front office.
Okay. Okay. And so from director of front office, then you went on to.
Okay, so Spring Hill Suites, I was in the guest services department, sought out by one from,
Okay.
and I went to the Waldorf Astoria, in the housekeeping department. So this was my first time being in housekeeping as opposed to like cross training, but solely in housekeeping. And that's a whole nother beast in itself. There really is.
Um,
It taught me a whole lot. Um, how hard housekeepers work, how hard the housekeeping staff work. And if you don't have a staff, you can't have a hotel.
okay.
Hmm.
So you were um, coming to understand what your workers were having to deal with.
Right. Because prior to that, it was just strictly front office. I was
Mm-hmm.
just strictly doing the guest facing. Right. And
Okay.
then when I went to the Waldorf Astoria, then I was like literally in the thick of, you know, assigning these rooms, making sure these rooms are taken care of, The Waterfall Story is a luxury property, so the expectation there is high, extremely
Mhm.
high. So yeah, I saw what they went through. And me personally, I think the consensus of a housekeeper at a hotel, they're looked at as a number as opposed to a person.
Mhm.
And so I took that with me once I left there, and just moving forward into other different properties to to make it my business to make sure that they feel appreciated, you know, and that they weren't just considered as a number, but they were
Okay.
heard and their concerns were valid.
Okay. So
Mhm.
what kind of things did you do, did you implement to make that happen?
To make them feel, so I'm really corny. I like doing like really corny things. So like I am like the dollar store queen. So I would get like
Wow.
cards and write them personalized cards. I would take the time to get to know them personally. So, like for example, say I'm a Starbucks person. So, say if I had a staff member that likes Starbucks, when I'm getting my Starbucks, I would get them their drink. Um, just little things like that. I mean, it seems
Thanks.
really corny and it seems really small, but in the grand scheme of things, like it makes the biggest impact,
Right.
and people feel appreciated, because it's something that
Sure.
I didn't have to do, but I took the time to listen and, to make this appreciated.
That's so important on a job.
Mhm.
I think if people feel that the administration truly cares about them, um, they don't mind going the extra mile,
I say
because
that
so
all the
many
time.
times you
Mhm.
have to ask your employees maybe to do extra things, you know, and you want things done a certain way, and you want them to care.
Mhm.
um, I think that's where a lot of businesses lose when their employees are unhappy, and so now they're not going to do represent your business the way you really want it represented.
Absolutely, absolutely. A happy worker produces, and if
Hmm.
they feel appreciated, they'll go above and beyond. Especially like in hotels, the majority of hotels are union,
Hmm.
so there are certain things they don't have to do,
Mm.
right? But
Okay.
if they know that you have their best interest at heart, and that you
Hmm.
sincerely care about them, they'll be willing to go above and beyond and to do it, even if they're tired, and even if they don't
Hmm.
want to, because they know that you care about them, and
That's
that
right.
you're thinking about the goal is to make sure that this is taken care of. You know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I know you mentioned in one point about being overworked
Oh yeah,
and underpaid.
absolutely. Oh wow. Okay, so
Now, before you respond to that, family, we're talking to Chimere Hunter. She is the CEO of Shimmer and Shine house cleaning service, and we're talking about her journey uh, into developing her passion, which so many of us are trying to find today. And she's sharing some experiences that I'm sure many of you have had, but she's persevered. And so this is where we're having a conversation about all of this. I'm finding it very interesting. So we were talking about being overworked and underpaid. So
absolutely. I'll use my most current position. I won't name the property. It's a boutique property. I opened the property. I was brought on as housekeeping manager. Um, so this is during the time of COVID. I was hired September 1st, 2021. I left November of 2023. Uh, so I started off as a housekeeping manager, brand new property, had to build things literally from the ground up. Um, and in winter of 2022, I was promoted to director of rooms. So I was over the guest services aspect. So that's the front desk, agents, the managers, the reservationists, the valet attendants. And I was over the whole entire housekeeping department, managers, laundry attendants, housekeepers, housemen, and then security. for the whole
Were
property.
these hands-on connections
Yes,
with all
yes.
these people you
I'm
work
a
for?
I'm a really hands-on person. Like I would
Me
get in the
too.
building, take off my boots, throw on gym shoes, and like run around the hotel. So I'm really, really hands-on, not micromanaging, but hands-on. Like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think you in a service industry, you have to lead by example.
Sure.
And for the staff to know that I'm not just asking you to do this, right? This is just not your job description, but I'm also willing to lend a helping hand. That goes a
Mm-hmm.
long way.
Okay.
That goes a long way. So I was over those three departments. And by it being a new property, this was during the time over the COVID. So there were a lot of challenges with staffing, getting the right staff, people who were passionate, who wanted to
Mm-hmm.
do a good job, um, people who came to work on time and came to work when scheduled. It was a challenge. It was a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
And so in the absence of those who didn't show up, I had to stand proxy, right? So literally for the 2 years and 4 months that I worked there, I literally worked every single day.
Mm-hmm.
I'm no stranger.
What were your hours like?
From 7 o'clock in the morning to about 3 o'clock in the morning.
Oh my God.
Yeah, yeah, it was challenging. It was challenging. So yeah, so I worked 7 days a week for the entire 2 years and 4 months. At this particular property, um, my white counterparts got paid more.
Mm.
The company was aware that I was aware that they were getting paid more.
Mm-hmm.
But I still what I was being paid to do, what I signed up to do. Um,
Okay.
but in the hospitality industry, it's not many dark black women that are in high positions, right? So you're dealing with that stereotype, right? Um, and the way I worked, no one asked me to work that way, right?
Okay.
But if it falls on my shoulders, I feel a sense of obligation to do so.
Okay.
I do not want to feed into the negative stereotypes of black women, right? So I'm not going to fail. And sometimes to my own demise, thus being the reason I was overworked because I had to get it done, you know?
Okay.
Um, but just the unfair treatment of not being paid what you're worth and or comparable to another race was really
Mm-hmm.
disheartening. And it's
And
something that I've experienced throughout my hospitality career.
still dealing with the color thing.
It's horrible. It's
This is
horrible.
ridiculous.
It's horrible.
We're still having this conversation.
Yeah, it's sad. It's sad and it's hurtful. Even
Mm-hmm.
though I've went through this, I'm 44. So even though I
Mm-hmm.
went through this in my entire life, it doesn't make it any easier.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't make it any easier. It hurts.
No. Of course
It
it
hurts.
does. Of course it does. Racism raises its ugly head,
It does.
and
It
it's
does.
there. So, it was this a turning point for you as far as starting your own business?
Well,
This,
actually, I started this company in April of 2021. Prior to me hotel. The owners of the company that I was with, um, I didn't feel that pretty much I was handling their entire company, right?
mm-hmm.
And so I didn't like the way they treated the staff. A lot of times their checks weren't on time.
Okay.
I hired them, so I paid them out of my pocket until the owners paid me. They just didn't care. And so I'm like, I'm doing this for someone else, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can create a company, do the same thing, give excellent customer service
Mm-hmm.
and guest satisfaction. So though housekeeping is not my primary focus, guest services, customer satisfaction is.
Okay.
I'm like, why not? Why not do it?
Okay.
So that's where there was birth. Me and my business partner, that's where there was birth.
Now, let me ask you a question because I know a lot of young people, especially say they apply for jobs, and a lot of jobs are basically applied for online.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you got to go in the computer, fill out your name, and I guess, hey, I don't know if it's what is that like? You get to pull from a group of names and you interview people, or because a lot of people feel like they're wasting their time putting their applications in, or it's
No,
like a lottery. It's like a lottery.
you know what? I completely agree. I left my most recent property in November. And I have actually been applying for jobs, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have 25 years of hospitality experience. Um, and I think maybe I've had a total of 3 interviews.
Oh my goodness.
And my business partner is going through the same thing. We have been applying LinkedIn, Indeed, like all day, all night.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't think these people are actually looking at the resumes. I
Mm-hmm.
really don't think they're doing it, honestly. I think you have to know somebody.
Uh-huh.
That's what I'm thinking. Like literally with 25 years and the positions that I can do with my eyes closed. It's like, no, we're gonna find, looks at someone else with who's more closely related to the position. I'm just like, are you kidding me? You know?
Wow.
So yeah, I think that's a lot of people's experiences. On LinkedIn, I've been reading a lot of people's comments and everyone feels that way. They feel that
Okay.
way. Yeah.
Okay.
But in my previous places, we would open up the position. I would go through the resumes, um, and the qualifications that they had, the
Did
skill
you
set.
get hundreds of thousands of
Yeah,
resumes?
I got tons of them,
Um,
and I would go through them. I mean, it would be in the middle of the night, and I'm unorthodox, so sometimes I would call people on a Sunday at 8 p.m.
mm-hmm.
for an interview. Whenever I had the time to do it, because I was so heavily in operations. But I would absolutely take the time to. I mean, if you apply for the position, I would absolutely take the time to go through the resumes and to look,
Mm-hmm.
to see if you would be a good fit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow. Well, you've had many experiences, and those little experiences and the big experiences, I think, have prepared you for
Absolutely.
where you are today.
Hmm.
So now you have your own cleaning service.
I
So,
do.
what would you say are the qualities that someone would need to go into a business like this?
Passion.
And to say, I'm going to have my own, it's going to be my own business now.
I would say the passion. You absolutely have to have passion. A passion for the particular industry that you're going in. Dedication. Um, and with your own business, and for so many other companies, I have sacrificed myself to get the job done.
Mm-hmm.
Why not do that sacrifice it for something that my name is on? You know? So you have to be willing to roll up your sleeves and put in the necessary work. You
Mm-hmm.
have to. And
And
I think but above all, I think my faith in God allowed me to persevere and push through. You know,
Mhm.
you have to see something bigger than yourself.
Okay.
You know, um, so yeah, those things.
And I would add to it, care about people, because that's what I'm hearing over and over and over again
You
in
have
this
to.
conversation and what you're saying. Caring about your employees, caring about your customers, caring about that everything gets done correctly,
Absolutely.
the
And I
right
think that's
way.
where the passion comes in
The
because
details.
yeah, because if
You
you're
gotta have
passionate about
you
it,
gotta have a detailed mind.
you have to.
You have
Yeah,
to
if
be
you're passionate
detailed.
about it, you're going to pay
Hmm.
attention to the details. You're going to
Hmm.
make sure that, your customers are satisfied. So I think that passion encompasses that.
And you're gonna be willing to put those long hours in if you have to.
Yeah, you do what you have to do,
Do what you gotta do.
Yeah.
Wow. So, since you started your business, what have been what would you say have been the greatest benefits to you?
Greatest benefits.
Yeah, since you started your business.
I think the customer satisfaction. I think that's the
Mhm.
biggest thing.
Okay.
Going into a location, um, and at the end, a customer being really satisfied about what has been performed. You know,
Okay.
maybe their expectations wasn't for it to be what the outcome was, but the surprise, like, oh wow, this does look nice.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that, and then just having something, that I was part, um,
Hmm.
yeah, something that will last,
Okay.
something that's not fly by night, but something that will last.
Okay. And what would you say have been so far? I mean, like, how long have you had your own business now?
So April of 2021 is
April
when we
2021.
started.
Okay,
Hmm.
so almost 3 years.
Yeah.
Okay. And so what have been some of your greatest challenges, to say?
Um, I would say currently right now, because when I left my most recent property in November, getting the clientele, getting the clientele has been a challenge. I have been utilizing Facebook, my personal page. I created a business page as well. I created an Instagram page and a TikTok page. So periodically I would, do a post to get, the company out there, the logo out there. So just getting getting the clientele.
Okay. And I think that's something we kind of mentioned at the beginning about getting out here and letting people know that you're out here.
Hmm.
Um, and I think it's an industry that more people are maybe looking at taking advantage of.
Hmm.
It's just like counseling. A lot of people used to not go to counseling. You know,
Yeah.
think of now you don't go to counseling. You just go somewhere and you just go get yourself together. You know, there's a stigma behind. You go get counseling, something's wrong. And so, but more people are seeing the benefit,
Hmm.
and I definitely can see, like with seniors and people with disabilities.
Hmm.
I think two of the greatest services are the housekeepers, the people, the homemakers. They call them
Hmm.
homemakers.
Yeah.
They will come to your home and they will cook and they will clean.
Hmm.
And then the other one is the bus service that they
Okay.
provide for people with disabilities here.
Hmm.
Hmm. So I think as people can see how important it could be, because everybody is so busy. A lot of
Hmm.
times you don't have time to do the cleaning. You know that you really need to get done. Your refrigerator needs to be cleaned out. The drawers and the cabinets. You got to take everything out and clean out. That's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work, especially if you have a full-time job or if you have other commitments. It is. It is. Because when I would come home from work, the last thing I was trying to do was clean up, honestly.
Wow. And so I understand you have different levels of services and
Hmm.
family. We're talking to Chimere Hunter, who is the CEO of Shimmer and Shine, your house cleaning service. And so you have different kind of services. You have what's called deep cleaning.
Hmm.
And so what all would that entail?
Deep cleaning would be like the stove, inside the
Oh,
refrigerator.
Lord. Mm-hmm.
Um, Having your floors like scrubbed really good. Now, like when we do a general clean, we'll mop anyway, but sometimes you need a thorough clean.
Mm-hmm.
The
The
baseboards,
baseboards.
the
Just
trim,
what I was thinking about when you
yeah,
said that.
things like, yeah. So a lot of attention to detail
Mm-hmm.
is what the deep clean is, to make sure that everything is thoroughly cleaned.
Because see, I remember my grandmother when she would clean the floor. Well, you had to get on your knees.
My grandmother too. You gotta
She
hit
had
those
a
baseboards. You
They
had
had
to.
pads. They had these red pads. And then you would have these red pads, and you had to get on your knees with a rag and mop the floor and clean the baseboards. And
Well, my
nowadays, people,
my
huh?
grandmother wouldn't even give me knee pads. She was just like, get the baseboards, get the baseboards. So, and that's my thing. When I go into a room to inspect the room, that's like the first thing my eyes go to is like the baseboards.
And see, that's detail.
Yeah.
See, that's detail. That's like construction contractors, come in and they'll do
Hmm.
certain things, but it's that detail work that creates the finishing that makes you
Absolutely.
come
The
in and go,
presentation. Yeah.
uh-huh.
Presentation is everything.
Okay, so we're talking about stove, and that's always a big deal, cleaning the oven,
Absolutely.
getting the baseboards, 'cause so that's what's considered deep
Baseboards,
cleaning.
window sills,
Mm-hmm.
just a thorough clean.
Right.
Something that's going to take more time, and like I say, attention to detail.
Okay. Okay. Um, and then there's move-ins where
Hmm.
people are moving in
Yeah. So when you
apartments.
get your new apartment or your new home, a lot of time people don't have the time to come in and to clean it. So we provide that service for for the tenant,
Mm-hmm.
as well as the move out. When you get ready to move out, you don't really have the time to make sure that the apartment is aesthetically okay, and so we come in and we clean it up for you, so you can hand the keys back over and the property back over in good condition to the owner.
Oh, that's a great idea. A lot of people don't even think about that.
Hmm.
But you're just coming in to clean. You're not coming in to move stuff out.
I'm not moving it.
Yeah. That's another job. That's a job for
That
somebody else
is.
to come get all
I
the
can put you in
ooh,
contact with
and
somebody though, but it won't be me. Yeah.
or maybe you and see there you establish relationships with people who maybe do that,
Yeah, absolutely.
and they come in and they move everything, and then you come in and you clean up, you know, establishing
Absolutely.
those kind of relationships. And then there are people who get routine cleaning done.
On a regular
You have
basis.
a number of people that, so people on the average, if people were getting their house cleaned up, regularly,
Hmm.
what would you say a regularity would look like?
Well, as
Regular
far as what the cleaning would
in
look,
terms of how often,
how
the
often?
person should get their house
I would
cleaned
say
up.
maybe a month, maybe twice a month.
Twice a month.
Hmm.
And they can keep their house. So a regular cleaning or a deep cleaning twice a month.
No, I think a deep clean maybe once a month, once every other month,
Mm-hmm.
especially if the person maintaining it throughout. So I would say once a month or once every other month for a deep clean.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And just clients twice a month.
Okay.
Hmm.
And then apartment buildings. Do you work with apartment buildings?
Any,
People.
yeah, everyone. So commercial properties, it can be apartment buildings, it can be individuals. I am going to look into getting contracts. So I want to be
Mm-hmm.
all inclusive. I don't want to leave nothing off the table.
Okay.
I want to be able to service any and everyone.
Yeah, because it's so nice when you come into an apartment building and the hallways are clean.
Hmm.
You know, the floors are clean.
It smells good.
It
Yeah.
smells
It
good.
makes a difference.
It does.
Yeah. And you want to come home and be comfortable.
That's right.
That's priceless.
Mm-hmm. And for the rent that they're charging nowadays, for
Absolutely.
sure.
Rent is crazy. The prices are crazy.
I don't know. And okay, and so then you have specialized cleaning. What kind of does that look like?
The specialized clean, that can be like maybe you don't want a deep clean,
Uh-huh.
but maybe we come in and we do just a regular service and you want to add your stove this time, right? So it's not a
Hmm.
full deep clean, right? A regular clean, and then you add specific things that you want to have done. So that's a
Okay. Okay.
a customization.
Okay. Now, what about the supplies that you use, the cleaning supplies that you use? You have certain people may want certain types of detergents or what have you,
Mhm.
based on what kind of smells they want or uh, what kind of products they
Chemicals.
may be
Yeah.
allergic to, or they have pets.
Yeah. We're sensitive to that. Prior to even doing any cleans, we let the customers know what products we have. And if it's not suitable for them, then we're willing to accommodate them because they're the customer. And we want to make sure that they're taken care of and to their liking.
Okay.
Hmm.
Now, so many people have pets now.
Hmm.
Do you do special cleaning behind the
We will.
animals?
We do. Actually, my business partner, he has 4 dogs. So I know oh too well about, having a pet or pets.
Okay.
So yeah, we'll take care of that too. There's nothing off the table.
Nothing off the table. Wow. Well, this sounds like a fantastic business that you have.
Hmm.
You've been doing it for 3 years. What's your vision? What's your vision for the future with your
I,
business?
I wanted to get to a point where we can add more staff on, and this is in the future, to probably venture off and go to other places. We don't have to stay in Chicago or the
Oh,
surrounding suburbs, but we can have something in another city and state.
okay.
People and hire people that are passionate about what they're doing and that are dedicated to the guest satisfaction.
Okay. That's wonderful. I know with the when you talk about the your passion for the geriatrics population,
Hmm.
I know there's a push towards keeping people in their homes, as opposed to going into nursing homes
Hmm.
now. Hear different communities, trying to support this.
Okay.
So I could definitely see, your services being needed
Being
in
utilized.
situations like that where people are getting older and but they can still, they don't have to be in a facility where somebody has to take care of them, but they can
Hmm.
still be home and get services at home. And I could definitely see these kind of services being,
Absolutely.
being important. Hmm. Wow. Shimmer and shine. I think this is a wonderful business, and I think you've had a wonderful journey, and I think you have just the right spirit for this, for what you're doing.
Thank you.
Did your
I,
grandmother inspire you to do this?
I think she does. My grandmother has passed away,
Mm-hmm.
and she was one of my best friends. I think anything that I do, she has a part in it because she was my second mother and she helped raise me. And she
Mm-hmm.
always pushed me, not to just be average, but always, expectation, and to always push the envelope and to go for what I wanted. So, absolutely, she definitely has inspiration in everything that I do.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful that you had your grandmother. Well, like I said, I think you have a wonderful business. We're talking about Shimmer and Shine, and this is Chimere Hunter. And is that how you came up with the name of the business? Because it's pretty close to your name.
Yeah, my business partner, he and I were coming up over names and everything. And actually, I'm going to give him the credit. He's the one that really he did
Is he sitting there?
it. No, he
Oh, he's not there. Okay, okay. So he came up with the Shimmer and Shine,
yeah, the name.
the name. Okay, I think it's a very catchy name, and I'm sure you're going to be
Thank you so
very
much. I
successful in
truly
what you're doing.
appreciate it.
So, would you like to have some final remarks here because we're getting close to the end of the interview?
I want to thank you for reaching out to me and giving me the opportunity to tell you about myself and my cleaning company. And I want to thank you on behalf of other people who you're giving the opportunity as well. And thank you to those of you who are watching the podcast for taking the time out to listen to me. I really, really appreciate it.
That's wonderful. Well, your podcast will be up here for those people who didn't get to watch it. You will be up here. We are still working on our directory, and you'll definitely be included in our directory to try to help with your marketing. And if any information we can come up with to help with your marketing, we'll definitely be happy to do that because we want to see you be successful. And
Thank you.
and I may be giving you a call too anyway, because I'm definitely thinking about a few things. So yes, ma'am. I'm so busy. You just don't
I
have time.
understand.
You want to clean. When I clean up, when I'm finished, I am so tired. Especially if I try to do the deep cleaning. So, friends, this has been Shimmer and Shine again. And how can people get in touch with you?
You can go to the website. It's www.shimmerandshine.com. We're also on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And the
Okay.
business number is 312-772-4191.
Okay. Say that again.
Okay. The website is www.shimmerandshine. So that's CHIMMER and shine.com. And we're also on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. And then the business number is 312-772-4191.
Wonderful. So, Shimmer and Shine. And we want you to remember our book giveaway, um, Black AF History, Unwhitewashed Story of America by Michael Harriot. This was selected by The Book Joint, located at 330 East 51st Street. You can go to thebookjoint.com where you can shop and read. And this has been a wonderful conversation with Chimere Hunter, CEO of Shimmer and Shine. And we're wishing you lots of business.
Thank you.
And as we say every Wednesday night, please support Black businesses. If you support Black businesses have the opportunity to circulate those dollars back into our community. So please support our Black business. So I want to thank you for coming tonight, everyone. Be safe. And again, Shamir, thank you very much.
Thank you.